Hi, this is John, and I am from Dream. Together with Dhruv, we've decided to work on a game development blog, mainly for ourselves, so we have something to look back on and be happy about it, knowing that we kept up our schedule. But we've also decided that it's probably a good idea to make this into a content that other people who might be interested in game development would be able to look at and see what they like or what they dislike. We are going to not really script this, so it's going to be as true as as close to real life as possible. So we're not really sure how we are going to do this. So most likely, as more weeks are completed, we'll change accordingly. Dhruv does not live with me, so we have to decide how we are going to designate who's going to be talking about what, but our general thoughts is it's going to be organized by what we have done that week, and Dhruv will talk about what he has done programming and what I have done. I will talk about what I have done in terms of the drawing. Now, for the hundreds of people who have followed us during Mirror Blade, which is our last game that we completed, it was an online MMO mobile game, and we had quite a big following. Well, big for us. We've decided to work on this new game called Brave Eduardo, and we are trying to bring a different kind of style and to the game industry, and we want to make it this time a little bit easier on us. And I wouldn't say easier, it's going to be more interesting, that it's going to be open world, hand drawn. I'm going to be drawing everything, and Dhruv is going to take the past 7 years of programming and condense everything into a very compact and clean programming style. And of course, Matt's going to do what Matt does, which is magic. And we're going to try to present Brave Eduardo as the best game we have made as possible. So once again, my name is John. I am responsible for all the art in the game, and for Brave Eduardo, I will be hand drawing all the stuff. And what's interesting is I haven't really drawn pencil with a pencil for a long time. Most of the past few games we've been drawing on the computer. It's been digital drawing, so took me a long time to figure out my style. And when I did, in a couple of weeks, it seemed to work really, really well. So this week that we are showing is already built on top of a demo that we've sent into multiple conventions, and hopefully we'll be able to finish this whole thing off. And here we go.
Hi, my name is Dhruv Gupta, and I've been working on games with John for 7 years now. Now, I started coding in high school in 10th grade, and I've loved it ever since. When I first started, I felt like I had a lot of power to be able to create something out of this computer that I barely even knew how to use before. Now I feel like I can use coding to express myself creatively. I can create these massive worlds in these games, and it feels very good every time I solve a problem, and it creates something that players and we can see on the screen.
So a brief introduction to Brave Eduardo. The game is going to be a somewhat relaxing platformer. I wouldn't say exact platformer, but it's kind of a platformer. You can climb everything. We actually are trying to limit the mobility, and our goal is to make it so there's a natural world that player controlling Eduardo will be able to interact with. So another focused mechanic will be cooking, and we actually are adopting several philosophies. I think specifically H.P. Lovecraft's cosmicism into the game, and we're going to try to present that in a very subtle way, but more about that later. And we have already kind of decided what we're going to make for our tutorial, and that's what we will be focusing right now. We had recently been accepted into a convention, so a Mind Fair, so we'll be presenting there, and we want to have a completed tutorial for that. So that's what we will be working on now.
So on Wednesday, I just worked on the Colossus, started working on it. We already had climbing in the game, but it would only work on straight surfaces. So I needed to make it work on surfaces that had jagged edges. So I started doing this, and eventually I got it to work, but the rotation was getting set instantly So I still need to smoothen out the rotation, and I also need to make it so that when you fall, the rotation is set back to normal. So there's certain things that I have to clean up.
So it is unfortunate. It did take me about a week to finish drawing the Colossus. I won't have that in film because we've decided to work on it after, work on this game dev after we've already drawn several things. But the Colossus is done, and right now I'm going to be drawing the cave. What I've done is the cave outside is going to be, the entrance will be much bigger, and anything that's in the game, such as the platform and tutorial, usually the interior part, I'm going to draw separately in a smaller scaled picture.
So on Thursday, I continued my work on the Colossus. Now that the climbing was working, I needed to first smoothen out the rotation. That worked pretty well. It was pretty simple. Next part was detecting the ledges. Now that was much harder. I finally figured out a way to do so. However, there were many different problems presenting themselves. Eventually, I got through it, and after a lot of work, I was able to have the bear cling on at the right time and then climb up.
So with the cabin outside and the inside done, and now the cave is also done, that means all my art styles, art assets are completed. So the next thing will be to put everything into Unity, which is the engine that we use, and it's going to be important because this is going to be the first map that player gets to see. So we'll have to make this as good as possible.
So on Friday, I continued even more work into the Colossus. Now there was a problem where if the bear jumped while he was climbing, if he was in the middle of the Colossus, he would teleport to a random direction. So I decided to fix that. But in fixing that, there was a problem where when the bear would jump at certain points, he would get pushed out very far, also in a random direction. So in order to fix that, I had to spend a lot of time figuring out exactly what was causing it. After that was fixed though, the bear was able to climb very solidly. I really like the climbing movement now. Now all that's left is to make it so that the Colossus can shake off the bear and that the bear can attack certain parts of the Colossus.
There isn't really much for me to say, and I'd rather give it the time to Dhruv because what he's doing is probably more interesting. But I spent most of my time working on the outside scene, and I have to populate it. I have to make sure there's a lot of grass around that you interact with, and generally make sure it's going to be interesting. Now, one thing we try to focus on for the very first tutorial map, which is once you walk outside of the cabin, is that it's going to be in the valley. Now it's going to be hard for us to make a vertical map without making it look boring. So I have to think about how I'm going to decorate the whole thing. And it's probably going to take me another day or so. So on the fourth day I was able to finish everything, and I've decided to take a valley but with bridge on the top to connect both sides. So you'll be able to access both. And you'll most likely see a couple bugs because Dhruv is working on the climbing, but I've decided to take a more jungle-like approach, so there's going to be vines that lean towards it to add a sense of depth. And yeah, that's about it. That's generally what I've done for this week, is finish all the drawing, all the art assets, and putting together the first map, the first tutorial area for our January deadline. Well, I would say it's going to be a December deadline. So as of recording, I haven't really gotten Dhruv's audio files yet, so I am going to just say that we'll have to see how it's put together, and this is going to be retrospectively interesting. Regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed what we had in mind, and we're going to try to punch this out as quickly as possible, not putting too much editing into this so you guys can see exactly what we're doing. And hope you guys like it, and please subscribe. We're going to try to keep this up as long as possible. I don't want to make any empty promises yet like I did in the past. So I hope we see each other a lot more, and see ya.